Today I'm painting bikes and parasols. Hi everybody, Steve Elliott here again. This is a watercolour painting that I'm doing, and it's a fun painting really. I went out, it's been so hot in the UK this last week, and I can't bear it. I can't wait for it to rain again. I love the rain. All artists must love the rain because of the effect the rain has on the light and things. But anyway, that's an whole different story. I thought I'd do another watercolour because I'm tweaking these brushes that I've made. Hopefully I'll get them out to you soon. I don't want to release them until they're absolutely bang on, and then I will do a video explaining what each of the brushes could be used for, I guess, and that's when I'll release them, same as all the others. So this is a painting that I did because it was so hot the other night. I went out for a cheeky beer, and I went to one of my favourite places, and it turns out it is a meeting place in the middle on a Thursday night for, I won't call them a biker gang exactly, a bunch of biker enthusiasts, and they all drive, or ride I should say, they all ride Harleys. And straight away I'm thinking, I've got to paint this. This is an awesome scene. And what I really liked about it, it's the backdrop to the bikes, because you've got all these cool Harley Davidsons parked up outside the Apiary bar in Castle Donington, and the backdrop was these parasols. And I thought this sort of typical English parasol thing with the chintzy flowers, and perhaps I shouldn't say chintzy because the owner won't be very happy about that, but these nice flowery parasols set against the bikes would make a really cool painting. And this is actually on my online store. If you want to grab a copy of this print, you can find it there. Anyway, it's a bit unusual, the painting, because I've worked in layers, and I've gone for really sort of strong dark colours. It's not black. I never ever use black in my paintings, so it is a sort of as dark a blue as you can get, I guess. And then I'm painting, I began with an original sketch. I imported my watercolour watercolour texture layer. I put that at the top of the stack, set that to multiply, and then I put these colours on, and then straight away I went into the eraser tool. I set that to one of the watercolour brushes. I think it was, I'm not sure now, it was one of the smaller smaller wash brushes, I guess. Anyway, I use that to lift out the colour, as I would if I do a real watercolour. I would be using tissue paper. I'd use a thin brush with water on it, wet the surface of the paper, then lift the colour with some tissue. And as long as you're not using a staining pigment, that works great. So that's what I did. I sort of painted in negative with this. I've just put colour on and then lifted that out, and I've kept it really, really loose, like a watercolour, a wet in wet watercolour. I haven't put any detail in the faces at all. I have got some quite sharp edges by using the eraser, and I've got lots of furry, fuzzy edges as well, which adds this kind of mood to the whole thing. And I built this up over several layers, just working in this one technique really, where I've got a sort of a base colour on the bottom layer, which has got these sort of browns and ochres in. So when I lift colour out in the shadowed area, it's still left this ochre beneath it, so sort of balance the light off nicely. It was really nice to see this biker crowd, because they were, you know, they they weren't a gang at all. They were just enthusiasts, and there was a variety of ages there, and there was lots of women which was nice to see in this gang, and they'd all got their own Harleys as well, and they've got Harley jackets on, and although it was so hot that most of them had taken them off, but they were all really enthusiastic about their bikes and showing them off to one another. And it was all the same model. I couldn't tell you what the model is because I know nothing about bikes other than that I owned one when I was a teenager, and I wasn't very good on it, to be honest. I don't know I'm still alive because I was really, really bad rider. But anyway, that's beside the point. So this painting took, I guess, maybe I think it was under 4 hours from start to finish. I did it in one sitting, and as I say, it was so hot, I didn't even go in my studio. I sat on my settee, I had the patio door open, trying to cool the house down, and I didn't move there other than to get myself cups of tea and continue painting. And I'm really pleased with this painting. I like it a lot because it is very impressionistic, but it's a watercolour, not an oil. And Procreate does work really, really well for watercolours, I have to say. There are some, well, I say there's some nice brushes. There are, because I've made them. But there are some really cool built-in watercolour brushes as well. And it makes me wonder how it compares. Well, it doesn't make me wonder because I've tried Rebelle 3 and I've tried Corel Painter now, and it certainly is a hell of a lot easier to use than Corel Painter. I wouldn't say it's easier than Rebelle. The thing about Rebelle is it does give you the actual mechanics of the paint flowing, which you don't get in this. You have to try and emulate that by pushing the pigment around. So, but I do think it does a really, really good job. I'm just sort of going in now, putting in sort of detail, and it was unusual, I suppose, because usually I work over an old painting and I keep the old painting looking at a sort of a state of finishness over the old thing, so at any point you could stop painting and have a finished painting. But with this one, I didn't quite do it like that. I think it's because I put so much thick colour on in one go. I was really brave, and then started lifting out colour. Parts of the painting became finished almost immediately as I was working around it. So that was a little bit unique. And I kept the same technique going over the whole of the painting, over all of the figures. I did the same thing where I was putting the colour on, then lifting that out with the eraser. So it is a painting that was painted in negative shapes, really, being brave. So every time I did put a block of colour on, like the woman's sort of pink, purple, I don't know, I think it's a shirt, I put that on its own layer so that I could erase quite easily away from that, lift the colour out there without damaging any of the colour that's underneath. And you see this nicely now with this guy's t-shirt, where I created a layer, just whacked that colour over the whole thing, and then just erased it away. And then I changed the opacity of the razor to put that pattern on the shirt. And then I put a little bit more colour in and was just erasing that away. And that worked really well. I haven't done that before. That's a new technique that I've tried on this painting. And I do think that worked really well. This is one of my favourite paintings that I've done for a while. And I'd probably say that about every painting I've done, I guess. when I've done it, because it is my latest painting. But I do feel that I'm improving as a painter. Every one I do, because I'm painting a lot. I paint every single day, and every one I do, I'm feeling now is better than the painting I did previous to it. So that's encouragement for me, I guess. And hopefully, for everybody else out there, get your brushes out and practice every day, and you will make lots of progress. And I think I've certainly over the last year, if you look at some of my earlier paintings, I don't think the watercolour ones are as fresh as this. And maybe because I'm also, I'm getting used to painting digitally, and I'm a lot happier with the tools and the apps. And I keep coming back to the same apps, although I'm trying lots of apps. I guess on the iPad, Procreate is the one for me at the minute. Anyway, this is my bikers and parasols painting. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, a big thumbs up as always is much appreciated. Helps me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have lots of videos like this, and I would love to be sharing them with you. And don't forget, click that bell as well, and then you'll get notified of all the videos I'm making. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.